Hey, sorry. All right, well, let's roll. Toya Stevenson, how are you? How are you? We can't hear you now. Sounds great.
Hello?
Now we can hear you.
All right.
All right,
I am
last chance.
awesome
How are you?
I am wonderful, awesome and amazing.
Okay, good choice words. All right, let's jump. Fulton County. Last 7 days, 541 active status changes. A little down for the last 2 weeks, but still very healthy in terms of like listings coming on the market. 126 went under contract in the last 7 days. A considerable dip from the previous 3 weeks, but not too far down of what we were seeing in February. So maybe it was an anomaly of a week. However, there's 301 pending and 232 closed out in the last 7 days. Here's the question I'm asking myself: geopolitical environment, Iran conflict. The properties closing out today were probably written pre-Iran conflict, pre oil price inflation, probably written under lower 6% mortgage rate environment. So what we're going to find out in the next 30 days is if there is an effect that what's happening globally is affecting the real estate market. I'm not convinced that it's going to drastically affect the real estate market, although it could. But stay tuned. We'll get there. If we jump down, oh my gosh, my computer is like out of memory or something.
Well, while you're getting that in
Go
order,
ahead.
I was going to mention hopefully we won't see too many changes with it because we're in peak season. Typically, this is the time that we're going to see a lot of increase. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens, but it will be telling.
There we go. All right, DeKalb had 316 active listing status changes. 78 went under contract, which is still pretty very strong. 190 pending, which is the highest number year to date. And they had 140 close out in the last 7 days. So DeKalb's a little stronger than Fulton right now.
Hmm.
If I jump down to Cobb, Cobb had 342 active listing status changes. 107 went under contract. So Cobb seems pretty strong. 225 pending, largest year to date, and 162 closed out in the last 7 days. They had two big closing weeks the week before, but 162 is really strong. So, what are y'all seeing in these numbers? What do you think?
It's consistent. I think we're seeing, some little peaks that are happening in the last couple of weeks, but it's been consistent. So I don't think that there's really a big change, which is still promising. We're not seeing drastic drops, but I'm also curious to see what our increase will be for the summer months.
Okay, same. Anybody else have thoughts?
Just glad to see that consumer confidence hasn't taken a tremendous hit. It's kind of, to some degree, it appears data wise that it's business as usual. So, my advice is continue to capture your unfair share.
Yeah. I mean, that's same advice in any market, right, Rick?
Yeah, but some markets get tougher. This looks like it's more on the steady Freddy side.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's King. Interest rates inched up another tenth of a point. So as of close of business Friday, we were at 6.5. It wasn't 4 weeks ago. We were like, woohoo, we were 5.99999. So is the geopolitical environment affecting mortgage rates? The answer is yes. And here's the thing I'm thinking about. If you rewound 1 year, what were our mortgage rates a year ago? Anybody remember?
North of 7.
I was going to say over 7.
It was over 7 or 6 3/4. Like they were starting to come down, but they were still way higher than what we're at today. So even though we're like, oh, 6.5, short-term memory loss or long-term memory loss, still a pretty damn good rate. One.
Absolutely.
Two, all the research says there's a magic mortgage interest rate at 6.64%. And when it's below 6.64, the data shows that buyer demand is good or increasing when the rates are below 6.64. If they go north of 6.64, buyer demand will start to slow down. We're inching up there, but we're not near there yet. One. Two, I also think if the climb from 6% to 6.5 happened in October, November, we would have a different response than we're having in the middle of the spring market increase. So I don't believe that buyer motivation or seller motivation in this spring market is being disrupted by the mortgage rates at this moment in time. However, if they keep going up, it could.
Hey, Brett.
And we'll know in the next 30 days if there really is any kind of disruption. Horace, hit it.
Do we know the price point of the homes or the income level of the buyers? Because the upper to middle to upper class, they seem less impacted by difference in economy versus the the low to middle income.
Sure. I think you talk about luxury and you talk about median price point homes. Median price point homes are certainly more affected by interest rates than luxury is. You would think it'd be the reverse because of the dollar signs, but it's more about payment sensitivity with median price buyers, where it's not so much about payment sensitivity with luxury. So it certainly affects the median price points and around there more than others. Make sense?
I did some research. January of last year, it hit just a shade over 7.1. And then by March, a year ago, this month, it dropped back down to about 6.7 to 6.8. So, in
There you
case
have
you
it.
were tracking and trending,
Yeah,
Yep.
so we're still lower than what we were a year ago, and we're into the spring
absolutely.
market. And people, as you saw here, still making buying decisions at a high level. So I'm not so worried about it. But let me run because we got a big conversation coming that I want to make sure we have time to talk through, which is this Zillow preview and what's coming down the pipe.
Yep.
But all right, this article on Inman, 5 AI prompts that do the work of a full-time marketing assistant. First prompt, act as a real estate marketing strategist, analyze the housing market for buyers in blank. Identify the 3 buyer profiles that most likely to purchase this home, include lifestyle motivations, what they value most, budget sensitivities, emotional triggers, etc. Here's what I'm thinking about. If Toya, you went on a listing presentation tomorrow, my suspicion is the sellers of those homes are going to start to ask more and more frequently, how are you utilizing AI in the marketing of my home? How are you using AI in the business? They're going to start to ask some AI questions. I actually believe if you were a prudent real estate professional, you would do research like this ahead of that listing presentation and take it with you to the kitchen table of your seller. And if I was a real estate professional today, I think the strategy I would have, Toya can't do this because she's a green texter and plays in Android world. But most iPhone users have notes apps. And if I was a professional today, I probably would have a notes app on my phone with the prompts saved that I would be using frequently. So I don't have to rewrite a prompt every time. I would just cut and paste it and change the city or zip code. Just food for thought. When you get prompts like this, you may start saving some of them in a notes app. This is a good one. There's another one that says, act as a real estate marketing strategist based on the following property details, identify the ideal buyer audience for this home and recommend the best marketing positioning, include blank, blank, blank. Here's the property details. Super easy to cut and paste into ChatGPT or Gemini, add your listing, take it to the listing presentation. The seller's going to see you as modern. They're going to see you as innovative. It could be something that sets you apart at a listing presentation. Listing description, social media campaign prompt, neighborhood farming prompt. You'll get a copy of these articles. We post them in Circle. I would lean into stuff like this. Any thoughts?
Yeah, those are
Yes.
phenomenal prompts.
They are. And I was going to add, yes, we do have notes that you can take in
Uh-huh.
Androids as well. However, one big thing that I would add to this, this article really talks about how we're using AI as thinking partners. So not to replace you as the agent, but I like that it is certainly saying, and Brett, you said, hey, your clients are already thinking about how they can sell their property or how you can better sell their property and using AI as well. But to do the market research, it just speeds us up in that sense. In order to write descriptions on a home, it kind of just makes it more automated in your business, not trying to replace you, but really trying to automate it so that you can use it as an assistant.
There you go. All right, I'm going to blow through some of these articles, but you get copies of all this in Circle. Jason Abrams talks about how nobody should get upset by having more choices. And he's talking about this Zillow preview that was announced a week or so ago in terms of a partnership with KW. This is one article I would encourage everybody to read. Here's what you need to know. I'm going to use the language, who moved the cheese. The industry has repositioned itself in the last 2 to 3 weeks around coming soons, private listings, and strategic partnerships. The cheese has moved, and our job is to first seek to understand it and then create strategy around it second. You need to be reading articles because there's a lot of movement going on in our industry, and I'm going to help unpack it here in a second. But you need to be leaned into this, especially if you're a listing agent. So the second thing is there's this article on Inman where brokerages stand on pre-MLS listings after a whirlwind week. So there's 3 or 4 dividing lines, and you need to be very aware of this. If I'm at a listing presentation tomorrow, I need to know what my competitors and how they're going to talk about things. So if I'm going up against a Compass agent and they start touting private listings, Compass's model is those private listings will be displayed on Redfin and marketed to by Rocket Mortgage with financial incentives. So their private listings will appear on Redfin and they're eventually posted to the local MLSs. There's no kind of referral fee or compensation based on their partnership, but Rocket Mortgage is going to come in and market on those listings a 1% rate reduction on the first year of the loan or up to a $6,000 lender credit to try to capture the mortgage business on those listings. So that's what Compass agents are going to tell a seller at the listing table. Well, when Compass announced this, it sent a little shockwave through our industry. And the response is twofold. So Keller Williams and other companies created a Zillow response. So you've got Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services, you have Remax, you've got Side and United Real Estate that have all created a streamline to Zillow Preview. So you don't have to do it, but you can choose to put your preview listings or pre-MLS listings into a Zillow preview status that also shows up on Trulia, which is the sister company of Zillow. There's the most eyeballs are on Zillow. I'm going to show you a chart here in a minute. 235 million monthly unique users. And a Zillow preview listing prompts buyers to contact the listing agent directly, your listings, your leads. But there also is a revenue share where you potentially can receive referral income on leads that were created on your preview listings. I'm going to show you that math here in a minute. So this was the big announcement last week. Well, then EXP comes out and says, we're going to create a portal partnership with realtor.com, homes.com, and Come Home. And so then Compass said Redfin, we said Zillow, EXP said realtor, homes.com. That doesn't mean you can't put your listings on here. It's just the platform feed. And then there's this independent answer, which Howard Hanna's the example, which says, hell no, no way. We're not going to push any private listings to any kind of portal relationship. Okay, so these are the three big models that happened in the last 3-4 weeks. And when I say the cheese was moved, this is what I'm talking about, is preview pre-MLS listings and where they're going to be marketed or visible. Does that make sense? Any questions so far?
I do,
Okay.
Brad. So marking the property coming soon in MLS, well, how does that work if you can't show, I mean, you can't really, let's say, bring awareness to the property until the property, goes on MLS, is active. So how does that work and compared to this right here?
Yeah. So this potentially could be outside of MLS. And there's certainly guidelines and local MLS rules, and we're going to have to navigate all this stuff together with our brokers. Yet the way you can think about this is if Rick Hale has a townhome and I go to the listing presentation and Rick Hale is a unreasonable seller.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, my townhome's worth $1 million. Well, in the past, a real estate agent would go, okay, we'll try your price for a week. And then if it doesn't sell, we'll drop it. Well, the challenge with that was it, in theory, could damage his listing because now there's a price reduction and I'm already 7 or 10 days on market in the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
So with preview, I can go, okay, crazy Rick Hale, we're going to put your listing at $1 million in the preview status, and we're going to watch how many times it gets saved or viewed on Zillow. And when we decide that we finally get right with pricing and put it at $925 where it should be, it's no price reductions, no days on market in MLS.
So when do you put it active in MLS? I mean, I guess
It's debatable. And here's Pamela, here's what I'm going to remind you and remind all of us. You remember when the NAR settlement came down and there was a lot of fear and weirdness around, oh, is buyer's agent commissions going to change or is our industry going to change? Don't get too far down the process in your thought process around strategy.
Okay.
Stay with me earlier in the process around let's understand it first.
Okay.
Like we want to spend our focus on understanding what this is before we get too far into strategy. Does that make sense? We'll
Yep.
get there, but I'm learning this side by side with you.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we're trying to navigate what this means and understand it.
Okay, cool.
And then I think, your team leader probably should be putting top agents on panels at your team meeting going, hey, how do you see crafting strategy around this? What are you going to do? And Y'all should be crafting a lot of that stuff at team meetings
Yeah.
around strategy and stuff like that. Make
That
sense?
sounds great. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so you need to understand the fragmentation because I promise you, you're going to be on a listing presentation and they're going to say, well, Compass said this or EXP said this. And you're going to go, let me tell you what this really means. So you've got to familiarize yourself with this.
So Mark Jones had a comment that I think is
Mhm.
valid. So the Zillow Preview product is still being built. So no one really knows how syndication from FMLS or Georgia MLS to the Zillow Preview will work and what FMLS GMLS will do regarding enforcing clear cooperation policy and their internally aligned policy, which says we have to have it in the MLSs within 24 hours of public marketing. So a lot of this has to do still with, as a member of the MLS system, we have rules and regs we have to follow. So there's got to be some alignment there. Or, to Horace's point, he then says it's ripe for abuse. It's also ripe for liability. But what I see are big boy players playing chess, the Compass system, and almost in the rest of the world. They have
Yep.
340,000 agents under their umbrella now, and Keller's at what, 180 or and change, and but the combined forces of the companies that are in alignment now creates an interesting duel in the street.
Yep. All right. So there's some other articles, but I want to point out a resource for you. So if you log into Command and you click Connect, and you go into this little search bar and you type Zillow Preview and search, there's a lot of resources inside Connect about this. So you can download even social media toolkits, um, all kinds of stuff. But that's probably the two resources we are going to post inside of Circle: articles, content, the PDF I'm about to show you. But you can also go into Connect and just type Zillow Preview as a resource as well. Make sense? All right, let me get this power PDF up here so we can
And Brett, while you're pulling that up, I do want to add we are going to be working very closely, Pamela, to your comment with our brokers in order to make sure that we're rolling it out, but we're just learning it just like everyone else.
yeah, and we're still in understanding phase.
Yep.
And
All right, so you'll get a
Brett,
copy of this PDF. There's a lot of history here. I'm going to skip, and I encourage you to read about portals, about clear cooperation, about options for sellers. But for time's sake, I want to hit a couple things. One is you need to know how the portals stack up. So Zillow and Trulia get 219 million views a month. Realtor.com gets 72.5 million. Redfin gets 57 million and homes.com gets 35.5 million. So a Compass agent takes a listing and they put it into Redfin. The exposure is 57 million views a month. A Keller Williams agent takes a listing and puts it into Zillow Preview. There's 219 million views on a monthly basis exposure. This is important to explain to a seller. I might even have this in my listing presentation. Okay. An EXP agent is going to push to realtor.com and homes.com, which is about 100 million views if you put them together. That doesn't mean you can't put things on other platforms. It's more about the brand alignment and push. This is an important chart to know. Then you get down here, what qualifies as a preview listing. And then the component has 5 big components. The first component is OP and broker choice. So Brett Caldwell, the OP, can choose to do this or not do this. I will choose to do this. Let's be clear. And I'm going to lean on our brokers to help us navigate FMLS, Georgia MLS, all the rules, restrictions of our local marketplace. So we will still have some uh, conversations, as Toya mentioned, that the brokers are probably going to have to lean into with us. And to Rick's point, I promise you the competitors are going to ignore some of those. So we may have to navigate the difference between black and white and gray and some of this, and I'll work with the brokers on that. Prominent listing contact information must be on all listings. So you have the ability to have your listing, your lead, but it's not exclusively your listing, your lead, and I'm going to get into that. There is an income opportunity for you off of your preview listings, whether it sells or not. And I'm going to show you what that means. There's a brand badging on all listings, and the days on market and price history is a seller choice. They can hide it or they can display it. So you'll get a copy of this. I'm not hitting every word for my high C's on the call. But we talked about OP broker choice. We talked about prominent listing agent contact information. But there is this thing called the listing brokerage agent referral opportunity. Zillow agrees that the time, effort, and expertise required to bring a property to market holds tremendous value, and that value should be honored in the preview listing program. While a listing is in the preview listing status, there is a referral opportunity for the listing agent and brokerage if a lead is created. And that lead is assigned to a Zillow preferred agent. Not you, a Zillow preferred agent. And that Zillow preferred agent closes a transaction on any listing, whether it's that preferred preview listing or not, with that buyer within 90 days, they will pay you a referral fee. So what does that look like? If you're not aware, if an agent is a Zillow preferred agent and they close a transaction, they pay a 40% referral fee to Zillow. So there is this option of request a tour, and that the consumer then becomes a Zillow preferred lead. Then, so they can contact you, but if they request a tour, it's going to go to a Zillow preferred agent. And if they hire that agent and that agent closes on a transaction within 90 days, that Zillow preferred agent will pay a 40% referral fee to Zillow. Now, here's what this looks like. If there was a $12,500 GCI on a transaction that was generated within 90 days from your listing, that Zillow agent will pay 40% to Zillow. They will pay 10% to the listing agent. So you would receive a referral fee in this scenario of $1,250. This comes out of the 40% that was paid to Zillow. Zillow will pay it back. So the net Zillow preferred fee is they would reduce their fee by 10% because they're paying it to you, and they would receive $3,750. And in that case, they pay 10% of their income to the brokerage as other income, which we then in turn profit share off of. Does
And
that
Brett,
make
I
sense?
do.
Yeah.
I want to add just one thing. I want to make sure that the agents know that the buyer can contact them as well. I know we kind of gloss through it because we're trying to get through a lot of information. So I don't want agents to think that, oh, they're just contacting the Zillow agent. There are two buttons that they can click. One is to contact you for more information as the listing agent. The other one is to request a tour, and that one goes to the Zillow agent.
Correct. So you're not void of the opportunity, but Zillow is certainly equal playing field to grab the opportunity. But if they grab that opportunity, they're paying you a referral fee. Any questions?
Is
Hey,
it
Brad.
clear if a buyer's created a buyer relationship and buys any house under the sun from your listing, you get the referral fee?
Any house under the sun within 90 days from the lead that was generated when they click request a tour on your listing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Hey,
Hey,
Brett.
you may never even sell that listing and you might get a referral fee. I don't know.
Hey,
Hey,
Brett.
I
Brett.
think
This is
Doug
Kelly. I had a quick question. Who follows the paper trail with Zillow to conclude the referral fee?
Yeah, great question. It's the prudence of that's on Zillow.
And
Okay.
no one knows at this point. Back to Mark's point, they're building out the system. But I
Okay.
can't imagine there won't be some level of accountability for us to continue to play ball as a collective.
And maybe even some type of application or document that we might have to submit,
I don't think
possibly.
so. I don't think there's a referral agreement.
Okay.
And Doug, to his point, added something in there. He says Angie relayed to him that Angie and Tom will be addressing in their weekly brokerage calls on how compliance perspective. So I think, Phyllis, what you're asking falls up under compliance. So we've got to build that part out.
Mhm.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you.
Ken,
And
did you
I'm
have
going
a
to
point?
remind everybody, we're still in understanding phase. Make sure we stay in we've got to understand this. So we need to be reading articles and dissecting these PDF files and learn this together. It's new to us too.
Mhm.
So I just remember back at the NER settlement, like everybody wants to go into strategy and scenario mode. But the truth is that distracts us from getting clear understanding. Stay on clear understanding with me first. All right. You will get copies of all this. Um, it's a lot. And I'll remind you, this is one of those moments in our industry where it's who moved the cheese. Well, if you don't like it, it's Compass's fault because they're the ones that pushed this in the industry in the first place. If you do like this, it's our fault because we partnered with Zillow. Yet I realize the irony in this dynamic is we have a love-hate relationship with Zillow. And I will also remind you, if you look at the view count, Zillow is the gorilla, if you'll let me use that word, in the marketplace in terms of where the buyers are. So I'd rather be partnered with the big kingfish than some of the smaller people, but we're learning this together, guys.
And Brett, can I just add this in closing? This is my phrase for the year: collaboration over competition. I think that this is a time that we're seeing more collaboration take place, and we're not seeing it just with KW. But when I think about what KW has done, the collaboration that they've done with the number one site that sellers and buyers go to me, I'm thankful for that because it could have been any other person that they chose to be in business with, and the same vice versa. So it is collaboration over competition.
Yep.
And Keith, did you see Keith's comment? This is optional. You don't have to do coming soon. This is a strategy to offset our competitor's strategy. Their thought was they could manipulate and control the narrative in their value proposition in front of sellers. And this gives us an equal footing, an equal playing field to say, yeah, we've got that. That's nothing unique. That's what I think is happening. And the fact that we've negotiated a component of referral fee return, I think is, again, to Manny's point, pretty awesome to see big boys get in the ring and throw blows. And the goal is to protect ours, what we've earned.
There you
And
go.
honestly, it's just another tool in our toolkit.
It won't be for everybody. I'm certain of it. This is not going to, my guess.
Matt put something in here. Matt, that's a whole dissertation, but I love it. It's easy to fall into the mindset of good guys versus bad guys. That's natural and what social media and the industry narrative pushes every day. But the reality is that this is industry is ever changing. It's not what it is or what it was 25 years ago. It's not even what it was about 9 months ago. I would agree with that.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
about as
the
far as
goal
I
is
would have
options.
read too. All right, guys, that's your Monday update. Stay tuned. It's an exciting time. And go sell some real estate.
Right on. Good to
All
see
right.
everybody's faces. Thanks
All right,
for
guys.
turning on your
Happy
cameras.
Monday. Happy
Bye.
Monday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.